Hello there. So I'm testing out this angle. Lighting coming from the back, but with a softness to it. And always just trying to get better at streaming while on the road. The goal with this set of experiments is to come up with a set of tools and habits and practices so that I can hit the button, share some thinking, and get back to traveling and exploring. And I really appreciate people who've been commenting and sending me images and messages and ideas and feedback. So it's great. But let's get right to it. I'm at now what is my favorite hotel in London. I've been here for a few hours and I already love it. Everything is so considered. The lighting is excellent. The thoughts around how to reach for light is so well done. The ability to shift light around the room, the ability to access darkness, it's all extremely beautifully done. In fact, one thing I may do is get my light, which kind of maps to this. This may not be fully charged, but let's see how this looks. So this is my favorite object on the road, and you can see the similarities in the considerations. The diffuse lighting, the good energy. I bring this all over the world because whenever I open it, it makes people happy. It doesn't matter which language they speak, I share this light and people feel better. And that's always a nice feeling because it's so soft on the eyes. You're not directly experiencing the light emitting diode or LED. You're indirectly experiencing it, and the medium is paper, something we're all so familiar with. So this just has a kind of primal effect on people every time and kind of allows me to connect. And I think that's the thought that keeps coming up in my mind, is how to create higher resolution connection. So I realized that with my focus on X, I am being interpreted through plain text and mostly understood, but when I'm misunderstood, I'm kind of misunderstood exponentially, ironically, and that can lead to a lot of problems. When I'm communicating through video or through longer form posts, I'm being understood in a much higher resolution, and so that's why shifting my energy back into Substack and YouTube and TikTok has been really fun, because I think that if I'm misunderstood in a 280 character or fewer post, I think that's a shared problem. But I think if I'm misunderstood on a live stream or a live stream or a video or a long form post, I think I can put more of the weight of the misunderstanding on the consumer of the content rather than the creator. And I believe that I've got a few observations that I would just like to leave behind for kids who are on their path. And that's really what this is all about. So I feel this calling to return down the path I've walked and add a few signs and add a few pieces of information. You can think of it like I feel like I've been hacking through the jungle, and at the very least I want to kind of return back to the tribe, tell people what I've seen, and then maybe erect a few signposts through the thicket so that as the tribe trundles through the jungle behind where I've scouted out, their path is easier, the signposts are clearer, the fear is lower, the direction is clearer, and the journey is a little bit smoother. Because I believe that my role as a kind of searcher, as a seer, as a scouting kind of individual, is to make the path for the tribe a little bit smoother. It's not to expect other people to deal with the same level of pain that I've dealt with. Like if I was hacking through the jungle for you, the hacking has been done. Now it's time to build the road. It's time to lay the path. It's time to, make way for the carts and horses. It's not. We don't need to be slashing anymore. We don't need to be cutting. We need to be laying foundations. And I think I'm much more clear that my search is always quite aggressive and intense and solitary and brutal. But what comes behind me is a tribe of curious individuals who are all kind of exploring, and they're laying their own foundations and maybe even forking off the path in different ways, which is beautiful. But somebody had to cut down the thicket first, and in many times in my life I felt that's been me. And it's come at an enormous cost at times, but I feel glad to do it, and now I know that's my role, whether it's in technology or music or sports, and in particular kind of flight and kites and all these areas that I've explored. I feel that I get to the perimeter of the map fairly quickly, and then I grow the map at the fastest rate that I can, and then I look forward to other kind of tribes stumbling across the breadcrumbs that I've left behind. And that's kind of part of what this exploration in streaming my life, or live streaming, or thought streaming to YouTube is about, is whenever somebody stumbles across my thinking, I want them to have like a deep well of video content to cycle through and consume, and for it to be available to anybody, anytime, 24/7, and for them not to need me directly, not to need a response from me in the moment, because the answer will be here somewhere in the kind of past recordings of my thinking. All this is to say, I am much clearer now on the landscape that I'm exploring. I would not ever suggest that I've kind of reached any peak of human experience, but I feel like I've gone from trudging up the mountain carrying a large backpack to throwing the backpack on the ground, sitting at the bottom of base camp. The mist has cleared from the mountain, and I'm rigging my kite, and I intend to kind of snow kite to the peak. And what I may find at the peak is that I wish to continue on and see where the journey takes me from there. And that may involve kind of helium and balloons and airships and all kinds of experiences. So I'm not even sure if the peak exists, but I can certainly see some people are there in the distance, and it's like the sun shining on Everest on those few weeks that you're able to climb it, and the mist and the clouds are cleared, and now there's at least an awareness of the array of paths people have taken, and some are kind of easier than others. But maybe another way to do it is to pump my kite, put my snowboard on, and take my own direction up there. And when I get there, maybe you just carry on into the distance and float away among the mountains. That would be quite a visual. An experienced snow kiter sliding up Everest in under an hour or something, or a few moments, and then as soon as they hit the peak, they just gracefully disappear off into the distance and kind of paraglide the kite back down. But yeah, that reminds me that at some point in this time that I have, I would love to organize a snow kiting competition to inhabit some of the principles of competition that I think would be most enjoyable. So no heats, because that adds heat and pressure. Just a kind of day or two where everybody does their best, and at the end of the day, the riders decide who express themselves in the most beautiful way. and perhaps it could be done in a large environment where thousands of people could see what kites plus boards and skis are capable of doing. But yeah, that's the thoughts that are coming up and arising. That's the thinking, and I'm really trying not to judge my own creative flow at the moment. I'm just trying to let it out and explore. I'm really enjoying it. So thank you for listening. We'll wind it up here.